Good morning, I'm Tracy Ann Burgess and welcome to the Change Channel. You're going to have to forgive me a little bit today. I might be a little bit snuffly. It's hay fever season here in South Australia, and so I might sound a little bit but I'm feeling fine and on with the show. So yesterday, what we were talking about independence. So if you've gone through a big life change, and I'm assuming you have, and that's why you're here, or you want to go through a big life change, redirect your life, and rebuild it and realign it to who you are and what you want. When you go through that process, sometimes if it's put upon you or you're feeling unsure about what to do and what your next step is, or what handle to grab to redirect your life, you can go outside of yourself. You might be tempted to go outside of yourself to someone or something and think that maybe their opinion about what your next step should be is more valuable than yours. So I'm here to say I don't agree with that at all. And the more you step into yourself, the more you step into your own independence, independent thought, independent action, the more that your decisions are made about your life according to you, your values and what you want, the happier you're going to be. And I know that's a big claim, but that's my experience and that's really what I advocate. It's so easy to jump to, even easy to jump to Google. And it's so easy to just jump to somebody else, some other person, to get some, get another opinion about what you should do. But I just think it's really disempowering to do that. Even for the small things, even for the teeny tiny things. I remember when I had my fashion label, I had my store, I dealt with all these beautiful women coming in. I created clothing. It was actually, my biz was actually a bit more of a service with a product, because I created clothing to balance and enhance the body shapes, the 5 main body shapes of women, and I went from a size 8 to a 24. So from super slight to super curvy, and I loved all my women that came in. I think I estimated that I worked personally with about 3,000 women. And firstly, there was what really surprised me and what I noticed, there was so much self-loathing with women about their body, which obviously is not just about their body. And so I always declared my shop self-loathing free zone. And what I also noticed is that women would come out. So I created 5 different wardrobes to work with all different women's body shapes and encourage women to appreciate all their curves without saying, oh, I've got to lose weight, and without shapewear or anything to change it, just how they were. But I found so many women were really unsure. They'd come out of the change room, they'd look at themselves and they'd go, oh, wow, I really love it. And their eyes would light up and they'd be feeling really good about themselves, and they'd have a girlfriend or they'd have their husband there and they'd ask their opinion. What do you think? And look, sometimes they would say yes, but I don't know why. And sometimes even like mothers with daughters, and actually mothers with daughters were even the worst. Oh no, it was probably husbands with wives, because the guys didn't want to spend any money. But sometimes they would be saying to them like, oh, dreadful things like, you look a bit beefy in that, or do you think that your arms look really good in that, or something rather? And then the women would get all deflated. So they were feeling really good about themselves before they asked the opinion of somebody else. So, I remember one father came in with his children, and this poor woman, she had a garden party to go to. It was a mayor's garden party, and she could never find anything to work with her shape. And I found that, and I had this lovely, lovely outfit for her. And her husband and her children were so disparaging. This one was in tears in my store. And I said, tell you what, I got a really good idea. What you guys need to do is go for a walk around the block, and we'll be here when you get back. And I guarantee your wife will be super happy and we'll find a really wonderful solution for her. And I think it's just best if you just all go for a walk. And I just sent them out of the store. I said, off you go. She was so happy. And then by the time they came back, she felt really good, really comfortable. She had a lovely outfit that perfectly suited what she needed. But my point is, you go outside of yourself, you make yourself vulnerable to others' opinions. They really don't know what your life path is. They really often don't really know what's best for you. They don't know what you're thinking. So we talked a bit about this yesterday. So taking it a step further, let's talk about what's at the core of independence. And the core of independence, when you think about it, is self-belief and self-trust. So trusting in your authority to determine your own life. Now we're getting good and meaty. This is the deep diving stuff that I really love. And this is really where the rubber hits the road. This is where you have those moments in your day where you don't second guess yourself. You don't go and ask somebody else. You just back yourself and start with something small. And you'll be so surprised when you bring your awareness to it, which is all about living a conscious life, right? This is what it's all about. All of my work is all about coming back into you. It's about coming back in here and consulting yourself and coming back and supporting and building. And it's a really fun process. It can be scary at times, sure, because you can replace some of your beliefs about yourself, but let's face it, when was the last time you reviewed some of the beliefs about yourself? And some of those beliefs that build your identity, that can shift and change. Don't hold on to your identity like it's a life raft out in the stormy sea. I think you have a light touch on your identity because, you know, it can change. You can be fulfilling roles. You can be a parent, a colleague, all sorts of things. You can have a certain profession. You can be all sorts of things, and then overnight that can change. And then if you have a light grasp on your identity, you can just let it go and it's okay. And you don't get all tossed and turned about in the turbulence of a big change. You can just go, well, that's part of me. That's not all of me. So we're talking about coming back into and remembering who you are, backing yourself, and absolutely believing in your authority and trusting your authority to determine your own life. You know, it's good stuff. It's good stuff. It can be intimidating. We all know it can be a little bit scary, but come back here anytime, make a comment, subscribe to my channel, come to my Facebook, come to the Change Mavens, come to tracyanneburgess.com, do my little course. I've got a free mini course there that can really help you work with my first 3 cards. I'll talk about them later, but it's a free course. It's terrific. Don't do 3 days. I would stretch it over 3 weeks maybe, but it's free to do. Let's talk about what our action's going to be today. So we were talking about yesterday writing down your dream life. What would your dream life be if you could just take away all of the walls and all of the boundaries and everything, and you had all the resources to do whatever you wanted in your life. Go anywhere, be anyone, whatever you wanted, and just really getting into that. So we were talking yesterday about how you were feeling when you were writing that down. And were there moments where you felt really elevated and really kind of lit up? And that's what I've always wanted to do. I just love that exercise. I think it's such a cool exercise, and it can bring you back into remembering some older kind of things that you've always loved. You've always wanted to be in nature. You've always wanted to be the captain of a boat, or you've always wanted to do something. You've always wanted to be an artist. And let's dig in there a little bit more and just choose let's choose 3 of those things that you wrote down about your, and we won't call it kind of like a dream life, because some of these things you can bring into reality and just start bringing them back a bit more into your life, because we're talking about not making a massive shift suddenly, because you might be feeling, you know, a little bit overwhelmed. But let's just talk about, firstly, we talk about the importance of journaling, right? So you get your journal and you have your journal every morning, and you have your candle maybe by your bed, and you start checking in with yourself every day, and we were talking about what you're wanting and about the direction that you're wanting to go in your life, about independent thought, about independent action. You're not making your choices dependent on trying to suit somebody else. You're really coming back into who you are, into your core, and checking in and just remembering what really lights you up and what really excites you. Because you can have an exciting life. You really can. You know, it doesn't have to have all these restrictions and everything on it, because there's lots of different ways we can expand. You know, an expansive life is a conscious life. And that's where your empowerment comes in, by bringing your awareness to different things that might be shutting your life down instead of opening it up. So let's look at opening up some of these things a little bit more. Choose up to 3. You might just want to choose one thing. You might think, oh, I just really love talking about that a bit more. Okay, let's talk about that a little bit more. Let's talk about journaling, that, okay, I've always really wanted to paint, or I'm super happy when I'm creative, or I'm super happy when I'm really social and I'm not really doing much of that, or I'm super, super happy and I get really excited when I don't know, go to the movies, or maybe are involved in some community that makes you feel really good and brings you back more about into who you are. So let's just flesh that out a little bit more and write that down, and let's just write down then 3 ways how you could open that up a little bit more in your life. So this is just taking one step at a time. And let's also write down a bit more about self-belief and self-trust and independence. And let's bring your awareness over the next day or so into moments when you keep looking outside of yourself for validation, for answers, and just try and turn that around, and not try, do, turn that around and just check in with yourself and just back yourself, back your own authority, and start making a few more decisions. And they could be small, they could be medium, they could be huge, they could be massive, up to you. And just go your own way. That's all I've got time for today. And it's been so fun, as usual. Today's day 3 of my 30-day challenge. I think I'm going to go further than that. I'm absolutely loving it. And so remember, change is opportunity. Grab it with both hands. I'll see you again tomorrow. Bye for now.